future, man. Such cruel, wretched redcoats. The mother country, they brutalized us and antagonized us. They demeaned us, stepped on us. Henceforth, the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. For 7 long years before the Revolutionary War. Did you know that in 1781 until 1789, there was no President of the United States? The Congress followed the laws written in the Articles of Confederation. Not until 1789 was I president. The First Continental Congress in 1774, we petitioned that sour king.
Oh, George, and how we are all with you.
They chose what they needed to hear and closed down meetings accordingly.
George, do tell us more.
Do you know meetings were held in faraway places for the sole purpose of tiring out our people who wanted to speak out and be heard?
Oh, and how I do love my country.
And there's more.
Well, then speak it, my president.
Rotten George used brutal force for us to follow his laws. He used his force like a vice. King Rotten George, we finally beat him in Yorktown with the help of the Frenchmen. I need to let my people know.
And how he needs to let his people know. And how he needs to let his people know.
Just what else could I do as father of our country?
Oh, you've done enough. Now it's our turn to be responsible. It's our turn to say who and what we are.
Can you say that again?
It's time, Mr. President, for us to know who and what we are. It's time, Mr. President, for us to know who and what we are.
The people of England, in no way, shape, or form, spoke up for us to their king. These are all the reasons that we needed to write the Declaration of Independence, so the colonies could stand as a sovereign, united nation.
Oh, Mr. President. Oh, Mr. President, we declare ourselves free. Free, free of England and its king.
It's been a total pleasure meeting you, future.
It's been an experience, Mr. President.
As father of our country, George battles on with us until today. Day and night his bird fights to rally us together. Only this time it's for snow. The sharpness of our tongues, let the Lord hear our call for snow. 96% of the water flowing into Lake Mead comes from snowmelt that drains into the Colorado River. By holding back the flow of the Colorado River, Lake Mead is one of the largest man-made reservoirs in the world. These views of low water levels at Hoover Dam are as recent as mid-May 2009. In 2004, our carbon dioxide, CO2 emissions from personal vehicles totaled more than 300 billion kilograms. That's equal to the amount of carbon in a train, a coal train, extending around the world 2 full times. We must find an environmentally friendly source of energy that can be used to recharge modes of transportation that will depend on electricity to function. A government that honestly wants real change would be leading us away from oil-driven vehicles. The Hoover Dam was created in the 1930s. It ensures a steady water supply for Arizona, Nevada, California, and northern Mexico. It is currently the 18th tallest dam Dam in the world. During the Roaring '20s, Las Vegas was a tiny town and was in a state of decline. When construction began on the Hoover Dam in 1931, money and people began to flow into Las Vegas. The Hoover Dam was completed in 1935, 2 years ahead of schedule. The South Rim gets less than 16 inches of rain and 60 inches of snow a year compared to the higher North Rim that usually receives 27 inches of rain with 144 inches of snow per year. Much of these differences is due to the fact that the Northern Rim reaches 1,000-foot higher elevation than the South Rim. Cut-out sides of the Grand Canyon were gorged or carved by the Colorado River. Rock layers record much of the early geologic history of the North American continent. A recent study places the origins of the canyon beginning some 17 million years ago.
Countries like Iraq and other countries in the Middle East and the Muslim world, they have had decades and decades and decades of trying to achieve independence by throwing out outside invaders, occupiers, colonialists, imperialists. And it was ridiculously naive to think that you could go into a place like Iraq with that kind of history and people would be dancing in the streets to see you come in and liberate them. That was never in the cards. And people should have known that. And they should have acted accordingly.
And other productions for Olelo and history. And my theme, of course, is learning from history. How long could a country continue moving forward, keeping its existence, its identity, its nationalism, its spirit, not learning from history? How many mistakes are we allowed?
Well, we'll probably find out one day how many we're allowed.
Yeah. Welcome to The Source. You're with Matthew Bernstein and Dr. Elton Daniel from the University of Hawaii History Department. Thank you for joining me today. Those in our society who speak how we're going to win this war, how are we going to win this war? And it's not just this year, and it's not just last year or the year before. Major radio hosts that it's this war between Islam and the Western world, and that we have to win this war or it's the end, and it's the Islamic terrorists. It's not like a major issue of Israel and the Palestinian crisis. It's not areas where we could gain communication through the commonalities of religion. It's the Islamic terrorists.
Some kind of struggle between good and evil is going on. We're on the good side and there's other people on the evil side, and it's a fight to the death and we have to win. We can't give an inch or all this kind of thing. And I mean, that really has a very...
Is that showbiz?
That's showbiz.
It's showbiz.
That's propaganda. That's selling things. And what it does very effectively is to prevent or overshadow public debate over real issues and real concerns. The more we try to portray Iran as an enemy, as a country that needs to be contained, as a rogue state, as part of the axis of evil, all of that, the more we do that, the more difficult we make it for people in Iran to criticize the government or to try to bring about some type of change there, because it looks like they're aiding the enemy. They're not supporting their own country. You know, whether Iranians are secular or religious or whatever, they're nationalists. They're proud of their country.
How did most Muslim people perceive the events of 9/11?
You know, in Iran, as in many places in the Muslim world and in the non-Muslim world, people were really shocked by 9/11. It seems to me, you know, sometimes today people have forgotten that after 9/11, there was a spontaneous outpouring of popular I don't know what the best word to describe it is, but sympathy for the United States. They had demonstrations in Tehran, people holding candlelight vigils and things like that. People were genuinely shocked and horrified by 9/11. And specifically, of course, in the case of Iran, what comes into play is that up until that moment, the type of religious extremism represented by bin Laden and the people who carried out 9/11, they don't see Shiite Muslims as real Muslims. It was their enemy too. So there was a feeling in Iran that, oh, now the United States and Iran are on the same side in opposing the Saudi type of fundamentalist Islam. They have a common enemy in the Taliban in Afghanistan. And that would tend to draw the two sides together. But that
Never did happen. On the last episode of The Source, the discussion included Afghanistan and our involvement there, and a very distinguished professor from the University of Hawaii shared his views, and basically what we said in our discussion, in our conclusion, was that America could be in Afghanistan for decades if we decide to morph our battle against Al-Qaeda with the Taliban. Moving ahead does not necessarily mean change. Any foreign war should have an exit plan, webs of doubt on the left, webs of doubt on the right. How can anybody from Hawaii not stand for honesty, respect, and integrity? Some things don't change. Progression does not necessarily mean change. Progression means moving forward. Change is when you change everything. Some things don't need to change. You need a solid base, a core, honesty, integrity, respect for things to move forward around. If you change your basic core, what do you have? Some things don't need to change to move forward. There's no doubt. No doubt. Anyone running for office should offer no more and no less than honesty, total honesty in every decision they make. For if they're totally honest, they will be consistent in the choices that they make. Wouldn't that be a nice change? Aloha.
Steve, I want to thank you for letting myself and my wife walk through the farm. It's just absolutely amazing. And the albatross, the little fledgling out there, is a bonus. It's a really, really real experience.
We're very isolated here. We have albatross that come every year. We have about 14 breeding pairs now out on our bluff.
Hi, Steve. How are you doing? I'd like you to share the benefits of non-fermented noni.
The key thing is going back to if you allow the fruit to ferment by putting it in a glass jar, in a container, it's the natural, God-given quality of the fruit to destroy itself. It's decomposing.
So it's not going to be as strong.
It creates alcohol and formaldehyde. Those chemical reactions with the compounds in the pulp destroy them. The alcohol destroys 100% of the digestive enzymes. Dr. Brian Issel did FDA research at the University of Hawaii for 8 years. He specifically chose, on cancer patients, he had 48 people died of cancer,
Okay.
specifically chose not to use fermented noni because his research, pre-research showed if you go through that process, you destroy 50% of the cancer.
Tell about the dehydrated.
Most fruit, when you see fruit leather, rolled fruit up when it's dried in 8 to 10 hours at high temperatures, and they're cooking it, all right? We were trying to save as close to the raw fruit, the compounds in the pulp without destroying it, the least amount of processing. So we do it low heat, below 115 degrees for high humidity, low air value to slowly remove the water.
Okay,
Once we
so
remove the water, we found we stabilize the compounds and they don't ferment. It takes us 60 hours to dry it.
and do
Normally, it's done in 8 to 12 hours. And there's a reason. It's the least amount of processing slowly to do the least amount of damage to the compounds.
stop.
I'm amazed you can hear anything I say. You don't want to hear anything I say.
Just tell me you're not pregnant.
I'm not.
Jesus told you, or you know you're
I know
not.
I'm not.
So Jesus let you know not to get pregnant, but not to drop out.
It's just not fair.
You care.
I know it's kind of late.
Eight weeks left, hardly enough time for me to meet with Miss Goodlips,
Miss Dissett.
your principal.
Oh, you mean Miss Young?
Yeah. What's not fair is Finland, the #1 rated nation, formed in 1919, graduates 96% of its high school students, and we graduate 70%.
I'm done.
I don't even want to know what happened. But what happened?
I feel all alone. Every time the teacher says this is important, I'm with my friends laughing at it.
Find what is important for you to do. Let Jesus lead you to it.
You don't believe in the system, do you? Jackpot bowling is your life.
Look to find the truth in what you do. To be free with it. To be yourself.
What is important is not. I'm always laughing at what is important because I don't feel a part of the system for some reason. So how can I help it?
Well, the bottom line is quitting is not an option, even if it's not fair. I'll tell you what's fair. Trying your best to be what you can be. Trying to be that person. That's fair.
Miss Goodlips doesn't even know my name. I'm passing. I have no referrals. I'm just hanging out with friends who feel the same way I do.
Who?
You don't know them. Where does the system start going wrong?
When people start to think that they don't need to meet it halfway. When they start thinking their problems are so damn special.
The system needs to understand that not everyone is college material.
Children in Finland attend either an academic program, 53%, or vocational program, 47%. This flexibility results in 96% graduation rate. And we can only conclude that having faith in the system helps perpetuate it. Thank you for listening.
I better call Uncle.
Hello.
I found him!
Found who? Who are you talking about?
Mr. Wright, the guy who will be there for me through thick and thin.
They don't need each other, that's why.
What are you talking about, Uncle?
I'm working on this script for a show. You know, in 1776, the divorce rate in Massachusetts and Georgia, 2.4%. And now, 50%.
Uncle, I know it's him.
Let the light in, girl. Let the light in. In this absolutely ridiculous world, you think Mr. Wright's going to be there for you?
Yeah, I believe. We're practically soulmates.
Yeah. Meaning he's gotten this and that, yeah?
No. Why do we have to fight about my being happy?
You're so happy. You're so happy with what you think you want.
Love and life is not so black and white.
You're in love, sweetheart, with the idea of being in love. Love finds you. You don't make love happen.
It's true though.
You want it to be true.
How does anyone know? We'll make it. We'll try.
You're in love with the idea of being in love.
And I've been in love with an idea for a long time.
What makes him so right?
Everything that he is.
You're supposed to be asking me why. Why the 2.4%? Why the 2.4%? Because they needed each other back then. That's
And he
why.
says he loves me.
Of course he says he loves you. You're beautiful.
We're ready to take the chance.
You don't control love, girl. You control yourself. You're just plain crazy.
And what's wrong with lovers in love? Have you forgotten?
Love lets you try to understand, and I'm trying to understand.
You're philosophizing. When is love right?
Love? Love simply is, girl.
You have the wrong idea of us.
Your ego is saying this love of yours is so right, girl. God. Just wait till you run out of forgiveness. Wait till you run out of forgiveness and he's just some guy.
But that can happen to anyone. How do you know we don't need each other?
You haven't given me not one reason why you need him. Not one reason why you need him and he needs you.
But we all need to feel like we can control our lives. It's my choice. And love simply is.
Yeah, and that's it. You're just trying to go out and make it on your own.
But isn't that what life is all about?
No. Finding your courage. That's what life is all about. That's what I'm talking about. Finding your courage.
But what does that have to do with needing each other? You're just afraid of seeing me get hurt.
Yeah, maybe I'm afraid of seeing you get hurt a little bit. But making a difference in this world, that's what it's all about. Anybody could go out and try to make some money. Yeah, go out and try to make a difference. Go out and try to change this world for the better a little bit. That's the test of a relationship. To think together, to plan together, to work through your frustrations together, to need each other, to sew the relationship together with your need. That's what keeps relationships together. Make a difference. Make yourself, I think. Make yourself want to make it work and make a difference. Brings you together, just like in the old days. They needed to survive. They needed to make a difference to survive.
What's wrong with being lucky? Have you forgotten? Are you afraid I might lose?
Oh, Lord. If you're living for him, well then, fine. Life fills us with a passion to go on when we feel we're on the right path. But if we finally notice that we're on the wrong path, hey, life can break us down real fast.
But how does anybody know until they try? Generation is impossible.
Hey, listen, I'm sure he's a perfect gentleman.
You just don't think he loves me.
eyes can see, as far as can be, my eyes will always find you.
Where? With me, at the end of the rainbow.
No, at the beginning of each new time we shall meet.
And I will be there.
Oh yes, pretty woman, oh yes.
You've lost my friend.
Don't tell me I haven't found you.
You're confused.
If I were king, you'd be my queen.
Of what?
A place where a man could feel alive. Being there. Everywhere. Just with the thought of you.
Please don't tell me life would be crazy without me.
Life would be crazy without you.
You're a dreamer, my friend.
I know just how real you are.
You do.
To me.
You are not a king, my friend.
Oh, pretty woman, don't you see
And just what don't I see?
that I will be all I can be just for you.
You don't know me.
Close your eyes to your tears. Let your past go. Be here now.
How can you think you are so right?
Because you are. See, you are happy with me.
And what makes you think you can keep me happy, my friend?
Oh, pretty woman, by just being me.
Friend of mine.
Mhm.
You're as fine as can be. Just completely crazy.
Let me tell you about crazy. Crazy is getting out of everything that I could possibly do. That is getting out of my way from seeing you.
And what would you do for me?
I lift every cloud in the sky. I lift.
Are you telling me love is blue, sweetheart?
I'm telling you what I clearly see. Trust me.
Friend of mine, tomorrow is another day.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Source. Our message has been friends first. And a personal message for myself is that in my own personal life, I've been lucky enough to have always been told to take my time. And I didn't always listen, but I'm here today to say that after thought and reflection, I found myself taking my time many times when I found other friends moving ahead in life, doing other things. And I find myself today very satisfied with what I have, pleased with some of my accomplishments, and still looking forward to do many more things. But I did follow the wisdom that was shared to me. Take your time. And that's the heart and soul of the message in Friends First. Would you like to share, Leah?
Absolutely, I agree with what you said. Unfortunately, I was told the same thing. As a child growing up, and I did not always listen. So, I find myself rushing in on things a little bit, but really, there's no need. Take your time. You have plenty of time.
Take your time.
Aloha.
My deepest inner conviction, which is the stepping stone to the path, which is my own.
Huh. Miss Universe, you are.
My spirit, my very being, and the smile that rises from my face comes from our one true high God.
yes, oh yes.
Listen for them?
I do listen, Miss Universe. And I hear you.
Do you also hear the cooling breeze? The ocean resting upon the beach? Your woman asking you for me.
Yes, Miss Universe.
But do you also hear your inner conviction that confirms the path that you are on is your own?
Wait a second. Are you saying my deepest inner conviction is the stepping stone
Yes.
that confirms
Yes.
the path I am on is my own?
Yes.
Oh. Thank you, Miss Universe. Wait a second. Are you saying my deepest inner conviction is the stepping stone
Yes.
that confirms
Yes.
the path I am on is my own? Oh. Thank you, Miss Universe. Thank you, Miss Universe.
Let your spirit into your heart. Become one with it. Experience. Raise your judgment of our troubled world even higher, but naturally. Let your spirit into your heart. Become one with it. Experience. Raise your judgment of our troubled world even higher, but naturally.
Okay. I understand you, Miss Universe.
Don't be afraid of who you are.
Oh boy, what a trip. I get it, Miss Universe. God judges us, but not before we judge this universe and this world that we live in. Listen, we need to listen to our deepest, innermost conviction.
Yes. And then choose whatever it is that's real or strange that allows you to choose your path of life.
Is Messiah fellow? How did you get the title?
We all want to have a big, strong friend, don't we? The title, it just came to me one day.
But how is this the first time I'm hearing it?
I offered my voice. And if it worked for me, it will work for you.
And you turn it on when it suits your needs.
I'm just a person.
So how do I get there?
Okay, you're serious. I really believe you're serious. Will you meditate with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's meditate. Let's just get down to God. Let's just meditate. Don't try to say your inner voice. Don't try to say it. Just hear it. Just hear it. Listen. Listen. Don't be so busy with all of your thoughts about what you're going to be doing later. Don't try to impress anybody with what you're going to say. Totally bring your spirit. Bring your spirit in toward your inner voice so you can hear it. You need to move with your spirit past your ego. Bring your spirit towards your inner being. Relax your body. You're going to find this universal oneness with our inner being, with our spirit, with our relaxed body. And we're going to give power to God. We're just going to listen, meditate, transcend. You must bring your spirit past your ego to hear your inner voice. Meditate and focus. Focus on just being. You're focusing on being. And
What do you think? You're like so 180. I like it. How can I have a mantra I don't even know about?
Believe me, it's there. And it's what makes us defensive. It's what makes us, motivates us. It's what makes us reluctant. It's how God sees us. It's what sets the angle and the perception. The axis, the very axis of our perception of how we perceive the world.
Well, according to you, I'm not very convinced about anything.
Anyway, it's not all about reading psyches. It's not all about reading psyches. It's about how we can make our will to serve stronger.
Okay.
Bernstein, Doctor of Life.
What makes you think you're going to get me to open up, dog?
Glad to meet you.
Hi, I'm Brandy. I noticed you didn't say Master of Life.
First impressions hard to change, you know.
Why bother worrying about it? It is what it is.
Soon I will be a match for an image in your psyche. And I'd rather not be a dog.
I didn't actually say that.
I'm largely a mirror for your reflections. I substitute your thoughts
Look at him wagging his tail.
with suggestions. Not everybody is going to open up. I just would rather not butt heads.
I don't like men much.
Even if she is not right, don't argue, man. Imposing awareness doesn't lead to change. Connect.
We're not all the same.
What a train dog.
Some people would rather not open up, say much about themselves, because they're stuck.
If she's going to keep you in the category of bad guy, you're done. Be real. Let her choose. Let her use the 5-minute rule and have a free pass out.
When was the last time you changed?
More what you are, but not because of your age, because of how you've learned to be.
I get to dislike guys really fast.
And how do I fit into the scheme of things?
You're unreal. There for the moment, a plaything, and I hate it. I remember reading about a 5-minute rule on droflife.com.
Have you ever taken the time to watch just one leaf unfold?
I'm looking for a life.
Papa! I just don't work hard at changing first impressions. I am who I am, and I am what I am.
That's the way I feel. I just am.
Dream bigger.
What do you mean?
You're too young to feel that way. I'm here because I've dreamed.
You look like you have
bigger.
never stopped dreaming. I don't think I like you much.
I've dreamed bigger than when I was just somebody. Practically nobody.
Confronting her issue before I connect will allow her to continue her power struggle.
You're still here. Maybe you should have dreamed bigger.
Done well for myself. I'm successful.
Because you say? Because a lot of other people are not successful? Because you didn't quit?
Well,
You're a prisoner, all jammed up. You're a jerked off spirit, Doc. Dying bigger every night.
your 5 minutes are up.
You don't even know me. You don't know how far I've come.
Time, gold, freak.
I'm not letting you go, Hotshot.
I definitely reminded her where the door is. I must keep jabbing with the truth. She doesn't need to see me as Spider-Man, just a good guy.
All I'm saying is that you can do better than settling for mediocrity.
Then what are you waiting for?
Oh, believe me, I'm not settling for mediocrity.
No, you're just dreaming.
You're young.
Don't tell me I'm young, because you're old.
Hi, I'm Matty Pool. Welcome to Matty Pool Presents, and this is my world. I'm rising to the top. As you can see, I haven't reached the very, very top of the world yet, because I haven't won the world championship. But I believe in myself. My message today is one that you've heard since the 1980s and even before. It's saying no to drugs. Ronald Reagan and his wife Nancy said it in the 1980s. We need to be number one in our lives. We as a society need to take care of ourselves. We do that. We have to be emotionally together. We need to be spiritually together. You know, it doesn't matter what religion you are, if you're Christian, if you're Jewish, if you're Muslim, if you're Catholic, if you're Buddhist, it doesn't matter. We cannot be creating walls around ourselves. We need to go to the high God for inspiration, to give us the sense to say no to drugs, to give us the sense to be able to play a game of pool. Just cannot be happy-go-lucky gamblers. It's just not going to lead us to the right choice. So it is in the game of straight pool. That ball should have been over here for the next shot over there. That was a silly mistake. Anyways, excuse my mistake. I make lots of them, but one mistake I'm not making is doing drugs. Say no to drugs. Go back to the same old message that it was in the 1980s. Ronald Reagan was successful because he was personal. And what's happening here is we've lost that personal connection between government and people who are so negative about the government and what they're doing. They're still not listening to us. But what he did was he personalized saying no to drugs, and so many people listened to it, and so many educational messages got through. But we need to continue that. We need to continue it because the legalization of this marijuana and whatever else they start to legalize down the road is going to make things more available. And no matter what they say, go take a look at when they took away the prohibition from alcohol. It spiked. More people use alcohol. That means more people are going to use marijuana. Right? It's just common sense.
I'm here, right?
You promised me.
I'm sorry.
I trusted you.
It'll take time, but it's replaceable.
Our new car and our savings, why didn't you bet my ring too?
Where is your ring?
Actually, it is a bit much.
What possessed you?
I couldn't let.
What possessed you?
Can I speak?
I have friends. I'm normal.
Look, I felt like it wasn't fair.
And what do you do?
I teach.
And what are you?
I'm also a teacher.
Let me pray for you.
I'm a respected teacher.
It'll be.
Okay then. One ground rule. No interruptions. Parents, teach your children to be polite for these people.
Fool.
So why are we here?
I hate him, and then I love him, and then I hate him.
I've had better days.
I don't get you excited enough.
I was fighting for you.
You were gambling.
For the sake of getting even.
Setting limits is what keeps things normal.
What kind of world is this, where normal isn't normal?
A world where we have turned what we want into being normal.
Were you high?
I understand. You deserve and expect respect.
What normal person wouldn't? A normal woman would hate him, and now he's begging me to start over?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I give you a chance to make it right.
You don't get it.
Okay. Let's revisit those signs that pointed the wrong way.
No, you're afraid. You're afraid that it's going to happen again.
What normal person wouldn't? I loved you for believing in us and our future. I trusted you. God, I think I really hate him now.
Going into your own world, risking everything, it's not recommended.
Not recommended? BS. What kind of therapy is this? He's the one still bouncing around and I'm the one feeling all the pain.
Look, I don't feel great either. I'll own up with a loan or something.
Who was the jerk who brought you to the table anyway?
Joey Wiener.
Joey Wiener.
Oh yeah, there's a Joey Wiener in every town.
You know, it just really gets me that you still haven't outgrown Joey Wiener.
I said it won't happen again.
It depends. If you don't replace thoughts that took you past your limits, maybe not.
I don't even think about the consequences.
Look, I guess I got sucked into the pits, and I didn't feel the vacuum.
How could you have not even been thinking about me one little bit?
Hey, listen. Normal is taking risks. Risking everything is not.
I guess I thought I was a superhero, that I could fix everything.
We're talking to the wrong person here.
Risking everything was what bent the science the wrong way. I spited myself for it because I wanted to hurt him really badly. And I was blinded in the moment.
I get that. I get that. You know, some people get migraines and they don't feel any pain. They see light flashes, mosquitoes. And I say that because you have one real bad headache.
I toyed with hope, hoping to change reality.
I hated him, and then I loved him before.
You know, taking risks is normal. We just have to take risks that we can afford. We need to draw a line in the sand.
I'm getting a headache. What am I supposed to be thinking here?
That you were supposed to know this. Now nobody can help us.
I see hope, my fair lady.
No one's fair lady. I hate this.
It's not like I wanted to be there.
All those signs that pointed down the wrong way was really resonated with you and Joey Wiener. And now you forced me to come here? Why?
You found him on drlife.com.
You!
Oh, well, listen. It's hard to change what we have forgotten. And it's good you can still see Joey Wiener still standing there.
Am I in therapy?
Hey, I'm not selling burgers, buddy, and it's clear she's not sweating. Listen, we're talking about setting limits, speed limits, drinking limits, gambling limits, investment limits. Without a certain degree of repression, all is insanity. Setting limits is what keeps